Please join me to welcome on the stage Amy Pearson, UTS Pro Vice Chancellor, Social Justice and Inclusion.
Welcome everyone. It's such an honour to welcome you all to UTS. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Gadigal people and pay my respects to elders past and present, acknowledging them in particular as the traditional custodians of this land and traditional custodians of knowledge, which is so important to us, a university community. I also want to extend that respect to any First Nations people in this room and online. As Pro Vice Chancellor, Social Justice and Inclusion, I am delighted to welcome you all to UTS and to be hosting tonight's event. Through the Centre of Social Justice and Inclusion, which I lead, UTS works to create genuine opportunities for people and communities who have traditionally faced barriers. Barriers to education, to participation, and to having their talents recognised and their potential realised. Our work is grounded in a simple but powerful conviction that talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not equally distributed. And where that gap exists, universities have both the capacity, but most importantly, the responsibility to act. And that's why I think events like tonight's matter so much. When we bring together community partners, supporters and advocates in a room like this, we are not just celebrating what has been achieved, but we are affirming a shared commitment to doing more. UTS has a deep and long-standing commitment to ensuring that refugees and people seeking asylum can access higher education and build the futures they are capable of building. I am really proud that UTS now has the largest cohort of students seeking asylum of any Australian university. This year alone, we have offered 26 scholarships to students from countries including Palestine, Jordan, Iraq and Peru as part of our humanitarian scholarship program. This program began in 2017 when we welcomed just two students. Two students 8 years ago was the beginning of something that has now grown into a program that has welcomed more than 120 scholarship recipients. They are engineers, lawyers, health professionals, designers and researchers. They are contributing to this country and this country is richer for their presence. There's a couple of them also in the room tonight. That growth didn't happen by accident. It happened because of the generosity of donors, the commitment of staff, and some of the really key UTS staff who work on those programs are also here tonight, the advocacy of community partners, and above all, the courage and determination of the students themselves. UTS is also proud to be part of a consortium of Australian universities working with the Department of Home Affairs to pilot the Refugee Student Settlement Pathway. So this is a genuinely innovative national initiative. It creates new opportunities for talented refugee students who are currently displaced in the Asia-Pacific region to access Australian higher education and build their futures here. And that pathway, I think, represents something really important. A signal that universities are not just places of learning, but active participants in refugee settlement. That we have a role to play not just in supporting students once they arrive, but in creating those pathways that bring them here in the first place. We know education has the power to transform lives. A scholarship removes one barrier, but it takes a community to remove them all. And this is why our partnerships with Community Refugee Sponsorship Australia and with many other organisations represented in this room is so essential. Together we are creating not just access to education, but pathways to belonging, to opportunity, and to long-term settlement for people who have already shown through everything they have endured that they have what it takes. Before I conclude, I get to do that housekeeping. I'm going to be brief. I think you probably have found the bathrooms if you've needed the bathrooms, but they're that end and that end. There are emergency exits in the very unlikely event of an emergency. The staff will tell us what to do. If you require any accessibility support during tonight's event, please speak to one of the team members. The ABC Australian Story have been on-site filming. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone online. It is an absolute pleasure to have you all here. Thank you for the work you do, and welcome to UTS.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you again to UTS for generously hosting us tonight. We will now hear an opening remark from Chris Aceh Noel Clement, who will also introduce the video message from Assistant Minister Julian Hill. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Noel Clement.
Thank you very much. I'd like to also acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation for their custodianship, ongoing custodianship of the country that we're on, and recognise the ongoing and enduring impacts of colonisation on those countries. Also recognise any other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander peoples who might be with us today. Amy, thank you very much. I can't see the lights on my face. Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much for those opening remarks. Chris is really pleased to be part of the program that you've been discussing, and we're also really grateful just for you sharing this space for today and tomorrow, and that really inspiring, those inspiring opening comments, particularly around the numbers of asylum seekers at UTS. That's fantastic to hear. I want to also just add acknowledgement of the people that are in the room, because we have a very diverse mix of people, people with lived experience of refugee experiences, people who are seeking asylum. We've also got community supporter groups in the room, people who are doing both the heavy lifting but also the opportunity to learn and to grow and to benefit from the experience of working with people who are more recently arrived. We've got community supporting organisations as well who support bringing these groups together, enabling people to undertake this work in local communities. We've got sector leaders, so I know we've got people from Refugee Council of Australia, Settlement Council of Australia, a number of other organisations that have been a big part of getting this model and this sort of work really to the point that it is in Australia, and I will come in a minute to its ongoing part of the humanitarian program. People have already acknowledged Australian Story is here filming some amazing individuals as part of an upcoming episode. I want to just take a moment just to recognise where we're at, I guess as a country but also globally, around some of the dialogue and the narrative about people seeking asylum, people seeking protection. And I know I'm in a room full of people that don't accept and don't buy into that dialogue. And I like to believe that, in fact, a large number, hopefully the majority of people in this country don't buy into it either. But I'm very aware that we're at a time when minorities, people who are quite vulnerable, people who are different can be othered, and it's very easy to start blaming in situations like this people that a lot of people in our community don't have first-hand experience of. It's one of the beauties of a program like CRISP and of community settlement support generally, is that opportunity for communities and for people to build first-hand experience, first-hand knowledge, and start to challenge some of those narratives, start to challenge with others in their communities the amazing contributions that refugees and asylum seekers do and have always brought to this country. Which is why the theme for tonight and tomorrow is so important, which is choosing welcome. It is a choice. It is something that you are all choosing. It is something that we know a lot of communities across this country will continue to choose. I want to go to, again, I've made this comment every opportunity I get, and Lisa always reinforces this comment, and that is for CRESA, this is not a program, we are not an organisation that seeks to try and grow our footprint across this country. This is about a movement. This is about an opportunity for us really to bring the resources, enable communities to do what communities do really well, and frankly, a lot of the time, get out of the way. Communities every day are demonstrating the value that they're able to bring, and refugee newcomers demonstrate the amazing contributions that they bring. So I'm not minimising the amount of effort, the amount of work, the challenges and the occasional heartache that comes with these sorts of programs. And I'm not for a moment knocking other settlement models. I've been responsible in my time at Red Cross for the more professional settlement services. But this is a model that brings unique opportunities and unique skill sets and really draws on those strengths in our communities. So this is a time when we need that sort of model more than ever. What I'm really pleased to announce, and it's probably a pretty poorly kept secret, we already know, I think everyone in the room knows, that this model is now part of the humanitarian program permanently from 1st of July. So that in itself is fantastic. And there are a lot of people in this room, and Libby Lloyd, who couldn't be here, and Lisa, who have really driven that from a concept and idea many years ago to get it to where it is today. What some of you may not know is that CRESA has been reappointed by government as the ongoing provider. So that's fantastic news. We went through a competitive selection process, as many of you know. It's really important that we were challenged to make sure we were the best organisation to lead this. I don't think we had too many doubts, but the amazing testimonials and things that we receive from community supporter groups, from supporting organisations, it's incredibly emotional, frankly, reading those things and just seeing the contributions of this movement, of this community. So that is fantastic news. It does mean we can get back to business and really be focusing on how do we make this better, how do we scale it as much as it can be scaled, and how do we support groups out in the community, which includes getting out of the way often. I finally want to thank government, particularly Australian Government and Home Affairs, and Shneya is here tonight, for their support in the model, for trusting communities, for trusting us in being able to demonstrate that this is working. We've had evaluations, we've had all of the things that you would expect to be in place for a government to have confidence that this is a model to support going forward, and we're really thrilled that that's what's happened. So what I would like to just finally do is introduce the video from Julian Hill, the Minister, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, but has been an enormous supporter of this model, and I'll let him say things in his own words. So thank you. I look forward to the rest of tonight and tomorrow. Cheers.
Greetings everyone, and welcome to the Community Sponsorship Awards. And to those joining again for the gathering, welcome as well. I'm really sorry that I couldn't be with you in person, but I did want to take a moment to acknowledge what brings you all together. Across every state and territory, everyday Australians stepping up, giving their time, their energy and their social capital to support people they've never met before. That's what community sponsorship is. It's the practical human work you do to support refugee newcomers through relationships and through simply showing up, helping someone find their first job, navigate a school or services, and feel at home in a new community. And we now have strong evidence showing just how much that effort matters. The independent evaluation of the CRISP by the University of Queensland confirms what many of you already know from your experience, that when Australians are empowered to welcome and support refugee newcomers, everyone benefits. Within the first year, the vast majority of participants are in stable housing, learning English, and feeling part of their local community. But just as importantly, the evaluation shows something else, that community supporter groups themselves are strengthened by this work, with many reporting a deeper sense of connection, purpose and belonging. So this isn't a one-way act of generosity. It's a shared experience that builds stronger, more cohesive communities. And that reflects a simple truth about Australia, that when we live well together when we actually meet, talk, share a meal and build trust. At a time when many democracies around the world are experiencing increasing division and growing pressures on social cohesion, the work communities do on a local level matters more than ever. because one of the strongest responses to the politics of fear and division and grievance is stronger communities. I was at a multicultural roundtable in regional Northern Tasmania recently when someone working in settlement said something that has really stayed with me. They said, "We can be a friendly community, but too often not a welcoming one." Friendly, but not welcoming. It was a powerful and touching moment that has stayed with me. Because a place can be friendly. People can wave hello in the street. They can be polite and helpful. But welcoming asks something more of us. Welcoming is active. This is something that you do every day by being part of a community supporter group and welcoming refugee newcomers into your lives. This is multicultural, modern Australia at its best. I also want to say this clearly. The government recognises the importance of CRISP as part of Australia's humanitarian program and the role it plays in supporting successful settlement and independence. Programs like this show what is possible when policy and community come together. But there's another piece to this work as well. The stories we tell, privately, around kitchen tables or publicly, through events like this, shape how Australians understand each other. They can divide, or they can build empathy, understanding and connection. And so every story that you share about welcoming a refugee family, every relationship you build, it all helps shape a more inclusive and cohesive Australia. So tonight is about celebrating that work, your work. To all the community supporter groups here, thank you. Thank you for the heavy lifting you do, often quietly and without recognition. The evidence shows it, the outcomes show it, and the stories we hear every day show it. Congratulations to the award recipients, and thank you all for the role you are playing in welcoming others into our wonderful communities in modern Australia.
Thank you, Julian Hill MP, for those very kind words and for your continued support for this great work. Now, it's that time where we move to the launch of CRIS's inaugural newcomer panel, and it's such a great honor for me to welcome a great friend, a good colleague, someone who actually does a lot of great work behind the scene. Romy Vitalian, National Director for CRISP.
Good evening. I am used to hiding behind my computer, but it's a great honour to be here tonight on Gadigal country and to welcome you all. We're all dispersed around the country and it's not often that we all get to be in one room, so we really thank you all for making the journey here tonight. The next 2 days feel really special for our team. So tonight, of course, is about recognising the extraordinary work of community supporter groups around Australia, but nothing about CRISP would matter without the refugee newcomers themselves, and we're really committed to ensuring that their insights and perspectives are at the core of everything we do. We talk a lot about the trust and courage that each of you need to embody in your work in welcoming refugee newcomers, and we see the same trust and courage being asked of refugee newcomers in this program, who put their trust in the hands of well-meaning strangers. Tonight it feels really special to be marking a very special milestone for our organisation, which is the launch of our first newcomer panel. This has been something we've aspired to since we came together to implement the CRISP 4 years ago, and we're now in a position to have CRISP alumni all around the country with lived experience of being welcomed by strangers. So our first newcomer panel brings together 10 remarkable individuals, CRISP alumni from around Australia, who have experienced community sponsorship firsthand and who will now help to shape its future. Over the next 12 months, these 10 newcomer panel members will work alongside our team in guiding the development and refinement of our programs and materials, sharing insights into the realities newcomers face, and specifically in a community sponsorship context, contributing to events and strengthening our policy and advocacy through their lived experiences. We're already seeing their impact. We recently met online with our newcomer panel members and reviewed the training that we provide to community-sponsored groups and the depth of insight that they were able to provide about what they want groups, they welcome groups to know has been so valuable. We're committed, as I say, to ensuring that refugee newcomers are not just beneficiaries or participants of our program, but shared architects and advisors. So it's now my great pleasure to introduce our inaugural newcomer panel members. If any of you want to give a wave, you can, but no pressure. Ana Peters Hernandez. Ayat. Daniel. Juan Santamaria. Julian Ibrahim.
I'm Julian Ibrahim.
Kimo. Luisana Rivero. Naima Ali Farah. Usama Bludani. And Wala Allaham. They'll all be with us over the next few days, so I encourage you all to reach out and connect with them. And here's a little more about our newcomer panel members. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Julian Ibrahim. I originally come from Syria. I've been living in Australia about now 1 year and 1 month. I currently based in Perth, Western Australia, which is my paradise. What I love most about Australia is how I can be myself with no fear, no judgment. I have a lot of special memories, to be honest. The first year with my group, which I call them my Aussie family, I met them the first time I met them in the airport. It was really emotionally crazy moment because when I saw them, I knew that already I'm safe. I feel like I couldn't imagine like really there's people who care about people's lives and my life is matter for them. I can feel how they build really vital safety net for me and give me genuine sense of belonging right from the first day. If there's one thing Chris groups should know, you have to be proud of yourselves that you are human with big hearts that help other human to have really beautiful and safe life. Thank you for Chris, CRSA, Chris program and all volunteering group. Big thanks for my Aussie family. Love you all.
Hello everyone, my name is Wala Allaham and I'm originally from Syria. I've been living in Brunswick Heath in New South Wales for almost 2 years. Back home, I worked as an English teacher and since arriving in Australia, I've continued supporting newly arrived families through translation and community support. Being part of the newcomer panel means a lot to me, because it allows us to share our voices and experiences honestly. I believe community sponsorship programs like RESP are so important because they create connection, belonging, and hope for families rebuilding their lives.
Hello everyone, I'm Osama. I'm originally from Syria, but now I live in Brunswick Heath. I arrived to Australia 18 months ago with my family. Coming to Australia was a big dream for me, but the journey was not easy. The CRISP program helped me understand the process and supported me from the first step. It wasn't just paperwork. There were people who truly cared about us. Today, I'm here in Australia, starting a new life full of hope.
Luisana here.
Anna here.
We are from Venezuela. We arrived to Australia 2 years ago. We live in Melbourne.
Yeah, oh my God, our journey was crazy, beautiful at the same time. I think the community refugee sponsorship support is amazing. The community groups are amazing. Sometimes when I compare my journey with other refugee friends, our journeys are totally different because when we have the community support, you feel you have a family, you feel you have you have help if you need in some moments. Yeah, I think it's more than support. It's about family, change some life.
And something I love here in Australia is we have freedom, and the other I love people here love the naturalness,
Nature.
and
sports.
yeah, and sports. But I think it's amazing.
Daniel shares, coming to Australia was a new beginning for me, and through CRISP I found not only support, but also a sense of belonging, friendship, safety and hope for the future. The kindness of the community has made a big difference in my journey, helping me settle, feel respected, and able to build my future step by step. I'm so grateful to be here in this beautiful part of the world, with all the opportunities being given to me. Hopefully the day will come that I'll give back all those blessings to our society and keep Australia great as always.
Hi everyone, my name is Naima Alifara. I'm from Somalia. I live in Melbourne Reservoir with my son. I came to Australia 11 months ago. I've been where there's no security for a very long time. But when we came to Australia, me and my son, as you see now, I've risked going outside alone, of which it never happened where I came from. I used to go out with my son. I used to put on niqab to hide my face, but now, very beautiful and pretty.
My name is Kimo and I was born in Syria. I grew up in Lebanon. And a year ago, I arrived here in Australia. I live in the Ngunnawal country here in Canberra, Australia. And I never in my life felt that much safe and connection to the land, to the people, and to my community. I flew from Syria because of the war when I was 7 years old. I grew up in Lebanon, moving from city to a town to a village, running from house to house to refugee camps. And now that I am here, I feel privileged and I feel chosen and I feel loved. To the future CRISP groups, just think of how you can change someone's life. Your kindness and your patience and your engagement with the refugees helps them have a future, helps them become who they want to be.
Hi everyone, my name is Juan Santamaria. I'm from Venezuela and I have been living in Melbourne for the past 2.5 years. One special moment I will never forget was when our CRISP group welcomed me and my family at the airport with banners and gave us a big hug. It was a very emotional moment for me and my family. During the first 12 months, everything is new and sometimes overwhelming. And having people to guide and support you makes a huge difference. Something every CRISP group should know is that the work they do changes life. Their support is truly invaluable for newcomers. Having a helping hand from the start gives people the courage to face the challenge of building a new life far away from home. And to anyone considering joining this cause, I will say it is a very meaningful experience where people can learn from each other.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayat. I'm half Syrian, half Lebanese. I grew up in Lebanon. I've been in Australia for 2 years and 2 months, and I'm based in Melbourne. I want to take a second here to say a big thank you to my supporting group, because without you, I wouldn't be here right now, because you made me feel home before I even arrived to the country. You gave me the feeling of family. Say one thing to everyone who's still thinking about getting involved in CRISP. What are you waiting for? You can make a big difference. Again, you can change people's lives. We need you. Get together, create these groups, and it's easier than what you think. It's not scary. We know that you're a human being. You know that you're scared. But believe me, we can learn together throughout this journey.
Very well deserved round of applause. Can we give them another big one, please? I must admit, I was getting a little bit moved when I was watching that, and I should also admit I actually avoid watching videos, our videos, because they get me emotional and I don't like crying. This next part actually is a little bit emotional as well, because it kind of shows and display how this program runs, absolutely diverse, made of people from different states who actually do a lot of different things and diverse in such a very diverse way. So we're now moving to the Community Sponsorship Awards presentation. I promised myself to be strong enough and not being carried away with what I'm reading, so I'll try to be strong. Before we announce tonight's recipient and special mentions, I want to acknowledge the outstanding contribution made by all community support group members involved in the CRISP, including those nominated for an award tonight. For those nominated this year, what came through strongly was the enormous and rich range of contributions being made across the community sponsorship movement. We read stories of people opening their homes, helping newcomers navigate unfamiliar systems, building friendships, solving practical problems, holding teams together, and showing up consistently in ways that may not always be visible, but are deeply significant. If I can please get all the names of the nominees displayed on the stage, please, and if we can give them a very big round of applause. Thank you. The awards tonight recognize a small number of people and groups, but every nomination reflects the strength of this movement and the extraordinary contribution being made by community supporter groups across the country. The task of CRISA's staff panel, who assessed these nominations, was not easy. Every nomination reflected care, commitment, and practical action. In making its decision, the panel considered the spirit of each award category, the details provided in the nominations, the impact described, and the extent to which each contribution reflected the values of community-led welcome. We also recognize that contribution takes many forms. Some people lead from the front, some quietly make things work behind the scene, some steady, others under pressure. Some create solutions when the path is not clear. Others use the voice, experience, and relationships to help grow this movement. The people we recognize tonight should therefore be understood not only as individual award recipient, but also as representative of a much larger community of people across Australia who are helping to make welcome practical and relational and real. These awards are not a complete measure of everyone's contributions. They are a way of publicly honoring a few outstanding examples from a movement made up of many remarkable people. For each award, I will invite the recipient of group representative or the recipient themselves, if they're here, to come to the stage, receive the award, and take a photo. Before we get into that, if I can get our wonderful board members who are here with us to join me on this stage, please. So we're joined by our wonderful friends online. For those that are online, if I get to call up your name, and we've got fireworks outside, so that's a good time for the awards. If you can please make yourself known by raising your hand, either on Zoom or something, so the AV team get to know who you are. Please, would like to celebrate you. Otherwise, for those in the room, please, up once I call your name, please come to the stage. Shake hands and get your award, and we want to celebrate you as well. The first award is the Outstanding Team Spirit Award.
And to say Mamush Chol for people who don't know Mamush.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. The Outstanding Team Spirit Award goes to Linda Monroe from Ballina Refugee Resettlement and Welcome Network. Linda is recognized for the way they brought people together and helped to shape a group of individuals into a strong, respectful, and respective team. Linda is described as someone who understood each person's strength, delegated with care, kept communication clear, and helped the group remain united even when unexpected challenges arose. What stood out was not only the organizational ability, but also the way they created a team culture where people felt valued, motivated, and able to contribute. Unfortunately, Linda couldn't join us tonight. She's had some health issues that she's dealing with. So I'm hoping, I think she is actually online. Linda, if you are online, please give us a wave. If we spot you, we can spotlight you. Let's give Linda a very big round of applause. Next award is Tough Under Pressure Award, and that goes to Lisa Natoli from Inner Northies. Thank you. I don't think Linda is here. I believe Linda is also online. Lisa, sorry. Lisa is recognized for calm, steady, and deeply compassionate support through a very difficult settlement journey. The nomination described Lisa as someone who carried a major load for both the family and the group, helping secure housing, supporting appointment, navigating services, managing practical deadlines, assisting with finances and household matters, and responding when crises arose. Even when difficult decisions had to be made, Lisa continued to support the family with dignity, respect, and care. Please join me to congratulate Lisa. Next award is Quiet Achiever Award. Don't worry, we'll get some people coming in here. I didn't call you for a reason. Quiet Achiever Award. That goes to Marilyn Smith, OAM, from Refugee Organization of Milton, Rome. Marilyn is recognized for quiet, consistent, and deeply practical support that has made a significant difference in the everyday settlement journey of a newly arrived family. The nomination described Marilyn as someone who manages schooling for 4 children across 3 schools, supports swimming lessons and other activities, seeks grants and sponsorship when needs arose, and draws on a wider network to find practical solutions. In a community with limited public transport, Lisa travels 3 days a week from her farm to support preschool drop-off and pickup. She listens with intention, offers encouragement and kindness, and is also willing to speak honestly when it may lead to a better outcome. She does all this while running a farm, supporting her own family, and managing a charity. Please join me in congratulating Marilyn Smith of Refugee Organization of Milton. Unfortunately, Marilyn also sent her apology. She is in New South Wales, but she is actually sent her apology. She couldn't join us here, but I believe she is online. The next award, Creative Problem Solver Award, that goes to Sherry Robles, Sydney Refugee Welcome Group. There's a lot of people from Sydney here. If anybody knows Sherry, please come forward. Sherry is recognized for bringing creativity, persistence, and strategic thinking to one of the most practical challenges faced by many groups, fundraising. When the group realized fundraising will be harder than expected, Sherry helped turn the challenge into an opportunity for community building. The nomination highlighted creative fundraising efforts, workplace grant support, community activities, and careful financial planning. This contribution shows that problem solving in community sponsorship is not only about fixing issues, it is also about bringing people together around a shared purpose. Join me in congratulating Sherry. I haven't lied yet. We've got people in the room. Above and Beyond Award. That goes to John Bradman from Riverhead Resettlement Group. I believe John is here, please. John is... Jan is recognized for an extraordinary level of commitment. Jan is recognized for an extraordinary level of commitment that went far beyond what could reasonably be expected of a volunteer. Jan is described as someone who helped make housing possible when it seemed almost impossible, prepared and furnished a home, adjusted plans quickly when the family's needs changed, and walked alongside the family through complex and stressful moments. They were there for the big challenges and the small gestures, from long trips to appointments to finding practical support and adding the touches that made a place feel like home. Jane.
Well, this is a very great thrill, but honestly, anybody who's been involved with bringing a family over here knows that the reward, or the reward for doing it is in the relationship building along the way. We've just had an amazing year with our family, and so many challenges that we've had. Just is hard to even imagine. Somebody was talking about that welcome, that first welcome, and I can remember that just so much. The hugs we got, our team. We've got a little team of only 5 people, so there's only 5 of us actually. And at the airport, when we met them at 2 a.m. in the morning, they held us so tight in an embrace that I thought I was going to be smothered to death. And I wondered if Winnie was ever going to let go, and that was the mum. Our family, we had the mum and dad, who are actually younger than my grown-up adult children, and 4 adult children ranging from 26 down to just under 20, I think. So they were all of working age and all running off on their own sort of tangents and whatever. But a couple of little surprises I'd like to share with you that we didn't expect or know when we selected this family from the group. We actually selected them because I asked Romy, I think, who were the hardest people to place, and I fully expected she'd say, oh, the great big families with lots of little kids, and she said, oh, actually single adults. And so the reason we chose our family was we thought we can knock off 4 single adults, and but we missed out on the cute little kids. Well, believe it or not, 2 days before our family left Uganda, the Congolese family, and had fled to Uganda and been there, not in refugee camps, but as refugees trying to survive in the community. And 2 days before they finally got to come, after a lot of frustrating delays, the daughter, the adult daughter, found out she was pregnant. She didn't know. She went to the pre-flight medical, and they told her then that she was pregnant. So 9 months later, we got our cute little kid. And I had the absolute privilege and joy of being in the birthing suite with her at the Gold Coast University Hospital, and Winnie, the mum, who was there. There was Winnie and me and Aline, who's the mum, having the baby. And Winnie said, if I could have a birth like this, I would have one every day. And the other surprise that we got, the big surprise, was that the dad was very, very sick on arrival. And he has, I want to share this with you because it's just such wonderful news, he has, after all of this time, 15 months they've been here now, and after all that time, he has had a successful liver transplant. So he's got a new life ahead of him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. Let's move to the next category of award, which is the Crisp Newcomer Leadership Award. This category is the community contribution and giving back, and that goes to Abul Fazi Bakhtiari. Thank you. Thank you. No. It's fine. Thank you, Abu. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, I just want to say that it's quite an honor to be here in this room and receive this award. I owe this award to many people and communities. I'm not even sure that I can bring it home. I just want to use this stage and moment to give my deepest thanks and gratitude to them. I just want to thank, firstly, God, who guide my destiny to be here with you, kind-hearted people. Next, I want to thank my mother, my most precious person in my world. The next I want to thank the Australian government who accepted me as a refugee in the country, and the CRISA and CRISP program who was the cause to gather my wonderful support group, Joseph and John and Pauline and Arthur, who helped me through to settle in and through many challenges that I faced since I came to Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Abu, and congratulations again. Next category is lived experience, leadership, and movement mobilization. That goes to Naima Ali Farah and Faizo Abdi Sugal. Thank you, Naima and Faisal. Now, special mentions. To help keep us on time, I will not read each full special mention. We will be displaying this on the screen behind you. These special mentions recognize additional contributions that strongly reflect the values and practice of community sponsorship. I will read each recipient's name and briefly acknowledge why they are being recognized. And I also want to acknowledge most of these people joining us online. They're not in the room, but I know we've got someone in here today, so we get to celebrate them. The first one, the special mention is awarded to Sylvia Davey from Basque Coast Refugee Sponsorship Group. Congratulations, Sylvia. Second is Jane Kennedy and Isini Puhula Gamayalagi. The special mention is awarded to them for their work at Deakin University Student Welcome Group. The third is Susan Maun. Susan is from Northern Rivers Work and Welcome Group. The fourth is Manny Larson from Kangaroo Pose. The fifth is Nicole Schlesinger from Hope for Eden. I'm sure I've seen Nicole here. Come on up here. Big round of applause for Nicole again, please. And the last one is Helen Shepherd from Moreton Bay Friends of Refugee, another Queenslander. She's not here today. Thank you. Congratulations again to all our special mentions. Each of these contributions remind us that community sponsorship is built through many different kinds of work: coordination, friendships, advocacy, practical support, hospitality, mobilization, and quiet consistency. To everyone, to every nominee, every group, and every person who continues to choose welcome in practical and generous ways, we thank you. You are helping grow a movement of welcome across Australia, one relationship, one family, and one community at a time. Congratulations again to all our recipients and special mentions. We will now move to a note of thanks, and to introduce the next speaker, I'm going to do this again. I welcome my colleague Rami Vitalian, National Program Director for CRISP, to introduce our next speaker.
Well, 4 years into CRISP, I don't know when I'm going to get through a work week without tearing up. You all represent the very best that our country can be. Tonight's about recognising what each of you do quietly and without fanfare. It's certainly not for the awards. Your work changes lives and shapes the communities around you in ways I think most of you are probably not aware of. At a time when the world has felt increasingly divided and it's felt so easy to turn inwards, you're all doing something different. You're choosing welcome. You're reaching across difference, building relationships, and acting on the belief that our shared humanity matters more than what divides us. The last few years have been incredibly challenging, and each of us in the room will have been affected in our own ways by what's been happening in the world. On a personal note, as a Jewish Australian, the last few years have been really hard, and sometimes I haven't known which way was up. But it's been thinking about each of you that's grounded me in the most difficult days. You've reminded me what's possible when we refuse to close our hearts and when we hold firm to our values through the storm. And I know I'm not alone in that. Your work sends out ripples far beyond this room into your communities and touches people that each of you won't be aware of. You can be sure that what you're doing has buoyed someone in your community, someone you probably are not aware of, and has helped someone find their right way up again. In a confusing time, your work provides clarity. It's unequivocally good. This spirit is beautifully reflected in the story that's being filmed tonight by Australian Story. It's the story of Naima and her son Faisal, who came to Australia through the CRISP, and the Hope for Eden community supporter group who walked alongside them. Their shared journey is one of courage, trust and connection across faiths, Islam and Judaism, across cultures, across experiences. It challenges the narratives we so often hear and shows us what's possible when we truly open our hearts to each other. But their story is one of many. Across Australia, groups from all walks of life are building these same bridges every day. But at the centre of this particular story are Naima and Faisal. Naima has shown extraordinary courage, not only in her story of survival and the life she's rebuilt, but in the generosity with which she has shared her story with others. The love, strength and dedication she hopes for Faisal and he for her is profoundly moving. My son is 7, and if he ever speaks about me the way Faisal speaks about his mother, that will be a special thing. The warmth and joy that they both bring leaves a lasting impression on everyone who meets them. We're deeply honoured that they're both here in the room with us tonight. Please join me in warmly welcoming Naima Ali Farah to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naima Ali Farah. My English is not good, bear with me. I'm a single mother from Somalia. I get married when I was 14 years old and became widow when I was 15 years old. I wanted to build my life because, I'm so emotional. I became from a very poor background family. And I didn't get education in my life. I wanted to build my life so that I can help my son. And in the process, I lost my parents and I lost my husband. When my son was young, I started to go to tuition to learn English. In that English, I was kidnapped by rebels called Al-Shabaab. For 2 months, did whatever they could do to me, lost, chop off my right hand. This is royal. They chop off my right hand because I wanted to do something for my life. I never give up. Thank God, I took my son, ran to another country in Kenya. We've been in refugee camp for 9 years, me and my son. I did what a mother could do to survive everything. And we came here to Australia. I remember the first phone call with Cash. That was I forget everything. That was, it changed our life. Coming here to Australia, thank you, son. Being a part of the community refugee program has been life-changing for me and my son, Faisal. We have been embraced by our support group, Hope of Eden, including Nicole, Karen, Danielle, Lynn, Jane, and Dave. A group of Jewish friends who welcome us into this country and their lives with open arms. I remember when we came to the airport, we didn't know that they are Jewish. We are Muslim, they are Jewish. But they told us later on that, are we going to hug them? Are they going to hug us? But everything changed. I remember hugging everybody, including Dave, and I was crying a lot. I don't care if I was Muslim or they're Jewish. I didn't know if they are Jewish. We celebrate every relationship, every occasion with them, including Pasach, Rosh Hashanah, and everything. They celebrate Eid with us and Iftar. We share meals, celebration, Eid and Rosh Hashanah, sharing and learning from each other. With our group support, both Faisal and I are learning to drive, and a long time dream. My dream was to go to school and be an architect. When I lost my arm, my dream went out of the window. But thank God now here I'm in Australia, that dream of being an architect, it went out the window. But I'm going back to school again to learn more English, to upgrade my English and become an interpreter. Faisal is in a diploma of community services, and I will be studying to, I've already said that one, the path to become an interpreter. It has also been 1 year since we arrived, and we have not looked back. We are so grateful for this opportunity to build our new lives, supported by our wonderful friends through Hope of Eden. I would like to say thank you to CRISP. Without CRISP, I don't know what will happen. I have my friends who came with me as they got resettlement here in Australia, but they don't have CRISP. Bad luck. CRISP and Australia and our group Hope of Eden, every day me and my son, it's a birthday. We celebrate everything that we never had before. When we came to Australia, I remember as a mother when I was told that you are going to Australia, I started calculating a lot. What shall I do? Who's there? What are you going to do? But CRISP changed everything. We never, ever felt alone. CRISP and our Hope of Eden group, they give us life we never had before. I would like to say thank you to Lisa, Romy, Cash, Han, and everybody in CRISP group that I didn't mention. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Please, everybody out there, as I have said in her video, go support CRISP group. Donate everything you have to them. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Asante Naima, asante sana. That is Swahili, by the way. Naima and I speak Swahili. So asante Naima. For our closing remark, without really making any comment on what Naima said, and I'm sure Lisa will touch base on this, can I please get our CEO, Lisa Barton, for the closing remark, please?
Wow, that's a pretty hard act to follow. They've all been hard acts to follow, and I know we're a little bit over time, so I have literally just cut my remarks in half. I'm delighted to see you all here tonight. I'm going to save you all the thank yous because I think they've been said by many people up on stage tonight. And in some ways, I think, who am I to thank you? Because I know the people in this room, you don't do this for CRISA. You do this with us because you believe in the same sort of vision that we believe in for our communities, for Australia, and indeed for the world. So we're doing this together, but nevertheless, I am very grateful because, what our mission as an organisation would be nothing without the people doing the great work on the ground. Most of you are joining us tomorrow, so we've got much to talk about then. So I'm just going to say a few things tonight and focus on celebrating contributions and the concept of courage. American writer and civil rights activist Maya Angelou, she really understood courage, and she observed that courage is the most important of all the virtues because without courage you can't practice any other virtue consistently. And when I look at people in this room and I hear all the stories, aside from all the love, the kindness and the care, I do see a lot of courage. Whether you're a newcomer or an Australian supporter, it takes courage to welcome a stranger into your life, into your family, into your hopes and fears, and into your home. It takes courage to sit with discomfort and uncertainty while you get to know one another. Courage not to fall back on assumptions or labels or stereotypes, and instead just be curious about one another. As humans, we love to classify. Australian, Afghan, Syrian, Somalian, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, queer person, straight person. But is there any person here in this room whose complexity can be reduced to a handful of labels. I don't think so. It also takes courage to jump in the deep end, knowing that like any other deeply human endeavour, this work can get messy and difficult, and there is no such thing as perfection. And finally, it takes courage to put your faith in the goodness of your fellow human beings. This also applies for institutions that have got behind this movement. And Noel pointed this out earlier, but it's not easy for boards or executives or department officials to trust that the vast majority of people are helpful and well-meaning, with the media constantly pointing out how awful a small minority of people can be. And in a world where virtue is too often just virtue signalling, I want to call out that the work that you as community supporters do stands out for its substance. There is nothing superficial or performative about what you do. Whether it's working on a settlement plan for a family you've never met, driving to the airport for a 6 a.m. flight, perhaps waiting around for 2 or 3 hours, navigating the bureaucratic mazes of Centrelink, building flat pack furniture, driving utes across town with fridges and washing machines, or dealing with a late night phone call from someone in distress. There are, of course, so many beautiful moments as well, joyful moments, airport moments, first safe homes, driver's licences, school awards, new jobs, new pets, new babies, some even named after you. I'm referring to the babies, not the pets, though you never know. There's a first time for everything. But behind all those beautiful stories, we know there are large amounts of hard work, perseverance and courage. And as we celebrate these contributions behind this beautiful movement, I urge you all to also have the courage to be as loud and proud as you can be about what you are doing. With rising populism, rising anti-immigration rhetoric and divisive fear-mongering, now is not the time to be modest. Australia needs your stories, your leadership and your example as groups of thoughtful, committed citizens. Thank you again to UTS for generous hosting this evening. And again, congratulations to the award winners and nominees. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing most of you tomorrow. And I'll hand back to Blaise for some final closing remarks.
Thank you, Lisa. That brings us to the end of tonight's formal program. But before we close, I also again want to acknowledge our sponsors and supporters. UTS, well done. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for hosting us this evening. Thank you also to all our speakers, nominees, award recipients, special mentions, newcomer panel members, CSGs, ACOs. If you don't know CRISA, we use a lot of acronyms. So CSGs, ACOs, partner organizations, newcomers, volunteers and supporters who've joined us tonight, both in the room and online. Can I just make a quick call out for those award recipients that are here? Please, if we can get a photo outside at the end of this event. We've got a nice photo thingy outside. Anyway, Lily will guide us with that. To everyone who's joined us online, thank you for being part of tonight's celebration and for your continued support and community sponsorship. We are grateful that you could join us. We will now formally close the online component. For those in the room, if you're coming tomorrow, take it easy tonight. Formalities have now concluded, but we warmly invite you to stay with us for networking, refreshment, and conversation, yeah? Thank you again for being here, and please enjoy the rest of the evening.